Hey everybody, Orville Johnson here for JamPlay.com, and we're going to look at some slide playing today. We're going to be in the key of, or the tuning of open G, and in the key of G. And the sound that I want to mess around with today is a type of music. This is from Mississippi. It's a kind of blues that, it's the Delta style, but it's also, there's a part of Mississippi, kind of in northern Mississippi, called the hill country. And there's a certain kind of blues that comes out of the hill country of Mississippi that's a little bit different from the Delta style. And so I want to show you something here. This is sort of the one chord, droney sort of hill country style of Mississippi blues. I'd rather drink muddy water, sleep in a hollow log. I'd rather drink muddy water, sleep in a hollow log. Than to stay here in Jackson and be treated like a dog. Okay, so that's a little taste of that kind of droney hill country Mississippi blues style. You know, some of the people you could, probably the most well-known proponent of that, slide style would be Mississippi Fred McDowell. He's a guy that you should definitely check out if you're interested in slide guitar playing. He is one of the well-known and well-respected proponents of that style, and he is a very interesting player. So check out Mississippi Fred McDowell. So let's look at what I was playing there. A couple of things about just the sound of what I was doing. You know, in some of my other slide lessons, I talk more about, you know, getting a clean sound and a clear sound, and I talk about damping behind the slide and keeping your fingers down and being able to make like making a real clear note that's not, you know, too buzzy, and you're not running into the other strings and stuff. So I think it's a really good skill to have, is to be able to play clean and clear. But then in certain styles of slide playing, like this one that we're working in right now, actually to me that sort of buzzy, rattly thing that happens actually sounds good to me in this kind of music. So to be a well-rounded slide player, it's good to be able to do both things. You know, I'm not making a value judgment that playing clean and smooth is better than playing, you know, rough and raspy. You know, there's a time and a place for everything. And there's a time and a place for this sort of raspy sounding slide. And this style of music is just the place for it. So that's one of the things I'm doing. If you watch when I play, I'm not really doing as much damping behind the slide as I would if I was trying to play everything real clear. So I kind of keep my fingers up. And I'm also not quite as particular about trying to, you know, make the slide just touch one string when I'm playing melodically. That's another thing that I, you know, worked on with you a lot, like in some of my earlier lessons where we were playing slide in standard tuning. We worked kind of hard on our damping and, you know, making sure that we can just have the slide zero in and focus on just playing one string and not really running into the others. But in this kind of playing, it kind of sounds good to run into the other string. Like when I'm playing this lick, here, I'll just play the notes of it without the slide for a second so you hear it's. Like those are the notes of the lick that I'm playing, but when I play it with the slide, it sounds like. So you hear me kind of running into the other string, and sometimes I'm playing two strings at once. And another thing that I do in that lick that is sort of important, you notice that most of this I'm playing with just my thumb and my first finger. And that's something that a lot of the old guys that played this music, that's all they used was just thumb and index finger. And although, you know, in a lot of our finger style picking, you know, we also use our middle finger, there's a certain kind of sound that you can get with just using your thumb and your index that is pretty darn cool and worth exploring a little bit. Like even if you're used to, you know, playing with, you know, using your middle finger, it's kind of good to be able to play with just your thumb and your index too. And this style of music is a good style to explore that in because it just fits perfectly when you do it. So you see when I play that lick, like when I play that last upstroke with my finger, I really hit it hard with my index finger, and I try to hit a couple of strings. Because I'm trying to get a big sound out of that chord. And I'm able to do that just by kind of plucking upward with my index finger. And something else I try to do in this song, I was trying to do it, or in this style, not so much song, because that's not any particular song, But I also try in my thumb as much as I can. Instead of alternating the bass, I try to just play downstrokes, really just quarter notes, you know, so that the background should just be like that. That's what I try to do. I can't truly testify that it's all that I do, because once I get wrapped up in it, I might throw in some extra strokes, but I'm trying to do this. So another thing about this style that is important is it's the coolest thing about this way of playing slide is the hypnotic quality. You know, there's not a lot of chord changes in it. Really, we only kind of at the very end of the phrase, we play something that sort of sounds like a 5 chord, but we don't even really play the full the full notes of the 5 chord. You know, we're just playing like the root and then kind of the minor third of it. So we're not even technically necessarily going to another chord there. You know, it's really about just kind of playing one chord, keeping that hypnotic rhythm, and then also, you know, playing the little riff over and over. The and another thing about this playing this way is that if you listen to the recordings of people playing this style, they're not necessarily into the metric quality of everything. Like every measure doesn't always just have 4 beats in it, you know, and they don't always leave the same amount of time in between the verses. Like it's very, it's free that way. So it's expressive in that way. You don't need to feel locked in by, you know, counting to 4 in between, you know, every event and trying to make everything sort of line up in this square way. You know, there's a lot more open feeling in the timing of this kind of music. So that's something that I think is important to make it sound the way it's supposed to sound, is not get too wrapped up in counting it all. Mostly you want to understand the rhythmic feel. You want to, you know, get the riffs happening and the sound. And then once you got that going, you just want to really play it over and over so that it's very trance-like. It's kind of trance music, really. And it's better if you play it that way. It's better if you kind of get into that sound and then accept and not only accept but celebrate the buzzy, raspy noisiness of the whole thing. Kind of enjoy it. So as far as, you know, where I'm playing, you know, the notes I'm playing, you can probably tell that just from looking. I'm not really playing anything real complicated. So there, like all my melody notes were on the first string, just frets 5 and 3. When I finished that lick, I moved over to the 3rd string, 3rd fret for that note, and then played it open. which to me is like the central part of the song. I'm just playing the notes on the third string at 3 and open, and then on the fourth string at 3. And I always play that lick at least 3 times before I, come to the next verse of the song. So let me, just to wrap this up, let me just play it another time, and I'm going to sing a verse along with it too, and you just kind of see how to put it all together to get this kind of sound going. I'd rather drink muddy water, sleep in a hollow log. I'd rather drink muddy water, sleep in a hollow log. Be treated like a dog. So there's a little bit of the Mississippi slide guitar blues for you. See you next time.